Welcome. Welcome to What's New and Neat in N-Scale video podcast number 2. My name is Dennis Turner and I am your host. If you'd like to know more about my background or the background to this video podcast series, please visit video podcast number 1 on YouTube. As always, we will start our podcast by checking out the new announcements on the websites of N-Scale Supply and Model Train Stuff. N-Scale Supply is our go-to site for pre-ordering of new products in order to ensure that you do not lose out when they're finally released in 1, 2, 3 years' time, or 4, 5 years' time in the case of Intermountain. Model Train Stuff is the go-to site for new products that have actually shipped and are in stock and ready for purchase. Both sites offer keen pricing, better than any other that I know on the web, but for overseas purchasers, Model Train Stuff has the edge as it will ship orders under £4, which is about 1.8 kilos, by first class mail, which is a saving of around $30 per order. The last podcast was recorded on the 7th of March 2018. This podcast is in effect at close of business in the United States on the 15th of March 2018. So we will check out what has been announced over the last fortnight on these sites, and then we will go and have a look at some manufacturers' websites to what they have announced and the estimated shipping dates if available. Note that the website addresses for all of our featured vendors will follow in the credits at the end of this video podcast. Right, this is N-Scale Supply's website. In order to see what's new, you coast down and click on News and Info. They put everything in newsletter format, which is updated monthly. And very helpfully, they show the date that each item is published on their website. So on the 15th of March, Microtrains announced and N-Scale Supply received some weathered cars. Microtrains, special cars like weathered cars can be announced and arrive at any time. There's no sequence there, whereas they also have monthly releases which ship generally 14 days after release. So you never know when things like these weathered cars will arrive. Okay, also arrivals, they've got Atlas gondolas, Atlas hoppers, Atlas cabooses. They've got Dash 8, 8-40Bs, GP9s and GP7s. A note on the GP7s, I'm not sure what N-Scale Supply have got all of the offered variations of GP7, but I know that Model Train Stuff has only got the analog ones, so the DCCs are yet to come. C420 was announced by Atlas, so you can go to N-Scale Supply and do a pre-order. Likewise, we have Syrup tank cars and Ford F100 trucks. Trinity spine cars, dry flow hoppers. On the 8th of March, Trainworks announced 52-foot gondolas. I've got a couple of them. They're beautiful products. Most products announced in N-Scale are reruns, not new products. It happens from time to time, but particularly in the case of people like Atlas, they rerun their products every 6 or 7 years, I think. Often, of course, if it's a locomotive, they'll improve the motor, but the bodies are generally much the same. But of course, they change the road numbers. So those of us who worry about road numbers can collect more of the same. So we have product announcements from Kato of SD70, the arrival of a P42, the arrival of PA1. Okay, that brings us back to the 6th of March. So that's N-Scale Supplies announcements for the last couple of weeks. So we'll now go and have a look at model train stuff. Our model train stuff still have a couple of glitches with their website. It's working, I think, pretty perfectly on a PC, but on my iPad, you're not getting the submenus. So in order to see, you see here it's got home, train, shop hall trains. Now if we actually go and click on trains and go effectively backwards, eventually, all right, what have we got? Okay, I didn't get what I was expecting. So anyway, to carry on, the way to look at model train stuff's websites, the first thing you must do is increase the product range from 24 to 192, because 24 you'll be paging and paging and paging. You've got to do that first, otherwise you'll lose your filters. Then we go to filters. Now we'll come back to category in a minute. First thing we want is N-Scale. Right, so it tells us we've got 4,384 N-Scale items. This has only just been added by Model Train Stuff, and it's wonderful. They now show how many they've got in stock, as opposed to out of stock. The old website continued to show in stock and out of stock, and you go and see an item you wanted and go and click on it and realise that there was zero stock. So being able to filter out the out of stock is wonderful, and that's what we're going to do, because we're only interested in what they've got in stock. Because out of stock probably means that, particularly in terms of freight cars, locomotives, etc., that they won't have this item back for 7 years or so, so you're not interested in out of stock. Okay, now these categories, they don't look as if you can choose them, but in fact if you click on them, like I'll just click on locomotives, it will actually go to locomotives, and you can then click on diesel, and you're now seeing N-Scale diesels that are in stock. So if we then go and click on hide filters, we start to get all of their locomotives that they've got in stock. Okay, now that's a new feature that they've added since podcast number 1. However, we want to look at everything that they've got since our last podcast. So we'll go to view all. So we're now looking at 3,132 in stock items. Hide filters. Right, so that's interesting. The last time I looked at this, there was a car, a motor vehicle at the front of this, That motor vehicle is no longer there, so I'm guessing that it's no longer in stock. So you sometimes have to be pretty quick. All right, Concours. Now, as you can see, it shows you how many are in stock. 3, 3, 2, 4, 3, 4, etc. This is wonderful because you know that if they've only got a couple in stock, you better move because they'll be out of stock before you know it. The stock levels are real time. I've frequently ordered when there's only been one left in stock, and I've got it. I've never been let down. So this is real time inventory, and it's accurate. So anyway, they've got they've had a shipment of Concours passenger cars, mainly Santa Fe. Then now these microtrains runner packs were announced quite a while ago. They're not part of the monthly announcement. Excuse me for my reminders. Okay, that's a bit of a nuisance. So just okay, we're back where we were. Okay. So then we've got microtrains. Have got some the containers they announced. There's a boxcar. Now these items we're looking at now were the end of February, 1st of March announcements, and as I say, they take about 14 days to go from announcement to stock, but they're obviously now all in stock. As you can see, my model train supply have good quantities of microtrains products. 30, 44, 35, etc. Okay, some more microtrains. Then we get on to rather a large number of scale trains, black hoppers. So we won't spend too much time on them because they all pretty much look the same. If you're interested in them, go have a look at the website. Then we got microtrains, SW1500s on lifelike chassis. They've been released. Now these are DCC ready, and it's just I don't understand really why, but they don't ship a DCC installed product, which for those of us who are not very keen on putting decoders in, particularly in switchers, it would be very helpful. However, that's their choice. Okay, we've got some more products. I'll let you just generally look at them, boxcars, etc. Now these cars here, Navy, Army, Air Force, they are actually January new releases. So these are, and the fact that they're appearing here would indicate that the model train stuff have got a second shipment. So they've got quite a few. Then we've got some Katos that they've received. Now all these Katos are reruns of products that they've had for quite a while, only they're now shipping them with DCC. This seems to be an American thing. I don't think the DCC is being added in Japan. I think Kato USA are having the DCC installed once they arrive, because they obviously realise that there's a big market for locomotives with DCC already installed, which Atlas have got that market some time ago. So they were a bit ahead of the pack. Okay, more microtrains. And a Thurn 4664. Now there's only one in stock. That probably means that they found one in the warehouse and they've added it. It's unlikely that it's just arrived in the middle of nowhere. This happens from time to time, that they'll add a single product like that. And that's a good reason for looking through Model Train Stuff's website at these things, because I've bought several items where I thought they were out of stock, and all of a sudden there's stock has arrived for whatever reason, which is quite pleasing when you're looking for something in particular. Okay, now we've got Atlas Trainman stuff. Okay, they were announced a while ago, and there's a reasonable level of stock still left. More Atlas stuff, more Atlas stuff. Okay. When Atlas deliver, they deliver heaps. As you can see, they're heaps. A big difference between N-Scale Supply's website and Model Train Stuff is of course that Model Train Stuff show every individual item, whereas N-Scale Supply and other sites sort of bolt them together, so you can't see the individual ones. Having said that, the photographs, when you actually go in and have a look at them, are inevitably the HO version that was released 20 years ago, and they're just showing it as a picture, as a representation. Okay, there's a couple of SD9s in Rio Grande. Now they're analog versions. The DCC version has not yet arrived at Model Train Stuff. N-Scale Supply may have it. I don't know, you'll have to ask them, but Model Train Stuff have not got it yet. So there's some more SD9s and SD7s. Now they're SD7s. Now these SD7 for chassis, and yeah, just double check them. They might be GP9s, so I'm not saying they are, but there has been a bit of a mix-up. So you just need to if it matters to you, if you don't care whether it's a GP7 or a GP9, which I must admit I fall into that category, then it doesn't really matter. And there's some 15s, and that's the end of the 192 items. So that's enough for this podcast. We'll in the next segment of the podcast, we'll have a look at Atlas and Intermountain's websites and have a look at their shipping schedules. But that's it for this segment. Thank you for watching. Okay, Atlas have their new announcements, which we'll just click on here. I'll eventually click on here. There we go. Atlas new announcements are in this catalogue form. So we've got March, February, January, etc. So if you click on March, you'll get the choice of scale. So we'll click on N scale. And we start to get lists of N-scale products. Not pictures mainly. They're all pre-order. It's not very wonderful way to show it. So you can browse through all of that as you see fit, but there's a much better way to do it. The better option on the Atlas website for looking at what's new and what's in the pipeline is to look at the production schedule. Now you can find a production schedule by clicking on information, and then going down to P's till you get to production schedule. Click on production schedule. And if we are really lucky, we'll get a production schedule. Now read the preamble at your leisure, but in fact the N-scale products show first on the list before HO and O, and if we just pull it out a bit, the red products have already shipped. So the N-Shay steam locomotive was announced on the 1st of June 2015. It actually shipped from China, or the estimated ship date from China was the 4th quarter 2017. The container date's been skipped for whatever reason, but it was shipped, or partial shipment, from Atlas to the dealers on January the 8th. So obviously there's more of that to come, but they're showing it as a completed product in red. So if we go back to full size, the interesting products are the ones in yellow. Are the ones in yellow, because it's the ones in yellow that haven't yet shipped. So what we're interested in here is the estimated ship date. So the first item are the standard height containers. They are estimated to ship in the 1st quarter of this year. Then we've got the C628 and 630 locos. Once again, they're supposed to ship in the 1st quarter, but haven't shipped yet. And have only got 2 weeks left to go before we're in quarter 2. I'm not sure what a trucks and track eraser is. We've got a lighting system, then we've got a GP38-2. That's supposed to be in the 1st quarter. Passenger cars, we haven't seen Atlas passenger cars by my guess for 30 years. The Atlas used to sell the Rivarossi range, and Rivarossi made a lot of passenger cars back in the day, but they used to sell the Rivarossi range under their own name, Atlas, in America. The rest of the world they were sold as Rivarossi, and as I say, there was lots and lots of passenger cars back then, similar to what Concourse seem to have today. Anyway, this looks like these are brand new passenger cars, which makes it a really hot new product from Atlas. And they went into a container on the 13th of February. That's very precise. So 2 months, February, March, April. So I would say they'll ship from Atlas to dealers sometime in April. So it'd be very interesting to see them when they arrive. If you want details of them, I haven't checked this myself, but if you want details of them, they'll be somewhere in one of those new catalogues. But you've got to work out which ones, and I guess that will probably be... Hang on, what's gone wrong here? Oh, I know, I'm reading the wrong lines. Okay, this column here is the announced column. So if they were announced in May 2017, and if you go back to the new section and you look for the catalogue in May 2017, you should find details of the passenger cars. We might even have a go at that shortly. being in real time, it will probably be a failure. But anyway, we'll see. Anyway, we've got VO 1000s. They're supposed to, that's a rerun. Their first quarter. Some covered hoppers have shipped on the 5th of February. The 100 pickup trucks shipped on the 13th of February. The 70-ton ore car, I hate to think how many times they've rerun them. You know, they're at least 30 years old. So the run of them shipped on the 5th of February. Containers, bulkwood flats, and the rest of the stuff hasn't shipped. So you can sort of flow down the list and see what's coming. It changes colour when we go from the second quarter to the third quarter, and that's as far as it goes. They're not listing anything that's not shipping in 2018, which suggests that they've got their manufacturers working somewhat better than some other manufacturers. All right. Now, what you don't get to hear about, or it doesn't show, is split deliveries. For example, the GP 7 and 9 and the SD 7 and 9, which shipped to dealers on the March the 9th. Not all of the products have been delivered. In particular, a lot of the DCC versions. Now I don't know when the DCC is installed, whether it's installed because it's supplied by NCE, so I don't know whether it's installed back at the factory or whether the decoders are actually installed like Cato do when they get to mainland USA. So if they're being installed in the USA, then that of course could explain why they haven't shipped yet. But then on the other hand, some of the GP9s with DCC have shipped, so I'm more than a little confused as to what's going on with that product. Anyway, we will have a quick check on passenger cars. Let's go, we're looking for May's catalogue. So we go new announcements, and we get to the Atlas All Scales monthly catalogue page. So if we go to May 2017 and click on that catalogue, and then we need to go to N scale, and I happen to know that the passenger cars start on page 4. Okay, we need to scroll down a bit, and there we go. So we have their Atlas Trainman, 60-foot baggage car for New Haven, Santa Fe, C&O, Chicago and Northwestern, New Haven. So they're all baggage cars or RPO cars. Can't always tell which is going to be which. Okay, page 5. More RPO cars. Okay, and then we're into coach cars. So the road names seem to be C&O. Okay, I've gone and inadvertently gone into the detail. So while we're there, we'll read it. So it's based on prototypes, full scale and details. All cars include separately applied window glazing, diaphragms and roof vents. Observation car includes separately applied end railing details. Okay, detailed interiors, excluding the baggage car, and operating knuckle couplers. So that explains the $36 price. The interiors, which is an add-on, an advancement on what most manufacturers are doing. Right, carrying on. Lackawanna, New Haven. Okay, I'm not sure whether there's page 6. So there's a coach and a baggage we've got so far. Oh, and obviously there is more, 6, 7 more pages. So coach cars, observation, and then we're on to back on to freight cars. So it looks like there's 3 or 4 types of cars come in 3 or 4 road names, and if you happen to be keen on those road names, then this is a bonus for you. If you're not so interested in those road names, then we wait for another day to see whether Atlas produce more of the cars. It's interesting that there's 60 footers, which seems to be fairly short. But anyway, this is a podcast on new products. It's not a podcast on prototype design and what a 60-foot car means and when it was manufactured, etc., etc. All right, that's the end of that segment. Thank you. Now, the next manufacturer that we will have a look at is Intermountain. Now, right, okay, we're going to have to go to the top of this page, which is going to take quite a while. This is a huge page. Right, there we go. This page would appear to be updated once a month. The previous page was 12th of February. We now have the 12th of March. Okay, it's upcoming products. Now, elsewhere on the Intermountain website, you can find other information. You can find more details of their products, all sorts of stuff. But if you want to know when something is actually going to ship, and you might actually see it, you need to look at this page. Now with Intermountain, this is really important because we're going to look at some F units that they actually announced. I think it was 5 years ago. It was certainly 4 years ago, and it looks like they're about to ship. So Intermountain can be a long haul product. Anyway, now I'm going to flip through the first lot of these because there are just too many to cover it all. I'm going to go to the more interesting products, which are mainly the locomotives. As you can see, there are hundreds of stuff. Tank cars. Most of these are reruns. Even the locomotives are reruns. The difference with the locomotives, there we go, is that they're now DCC equipped, and they didn't used to be. They were all analog. Now, as I understand it from talking to Intermountain, the problem and the reason why we've had to wait so many years for these products to arrive is to do with DCC sound. They've been working with whoever it is. I'm not going to say a brand name because A, I don't know them too well, and B, I could be wrong. But they've been working with one of the DCC sound manufacturers to come up with a decoder and sound system for N-Scale, and that has taken at least 2 or 3 years longer than they expected. So according to them, the problem is not is not Intermountain, it's the DCC sound manufacturer who's been holding them up. That's probably true. So they reckon they've now got it, and we've seen SD 40-2s, I think it is, have already shipped earlier this year, and they were the very first of the new products to come out with the new DCC sound system. All right. Anyway, FT locomotives. Now these are sets. This is a powered. I'm pretty sure it's a powered A, and I'm not. I think it's a powered B. I think they're both powered. I mean, don't quote me there, but I think they're both powered. Yeah, looking at those prices, they look both powered. But anyway, they've got these will have drawbars. So this is back in the days when the railroads were getting the manufacturers to ship locomotives with drawbars as opposed to couplers, because the unions insisted on I don't know, 2 men per unit, and if they were drawbarred, then it was regarded as 1 unit, not 2 units. Now today, I think the unions accept 2 men for 16 units, but back in the early 50s, when these products first were delivered from EMD, the union rules were an issue, and that's why you get these sets with drawbars. Okay, so perfectly correct in terms of the prototype, but it means that the A and the B will always be attached. So anyway, they're due in June. It's once again not a new product. I've got some Santa Fe, I think, like this, which would have been from the first run. I don't know, 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. But they're DC only, of course. So they're due in June, and I'll leave you to go in there and go through them. As you can see, there's a lot of road names. Right, now we have the F3 and the F3A and the F3B. Now, last month these were showing us shipping in March, I'm pretty sure, and all of a sudden they're shipping in April. So fancy that. The dates are slipping, but I first ordered these with N-Scale Supply about at least 4 or 5 years ago, and I've subsequently cancelled with N-Scale Supply, much to their disgust, on the basis that it was just ridiculous to wait that long for a locomotive, and as you can see, they're still not shipping. So you know, I'll worry about buying them if they ever finally arrive. So they're due to ship in April. Now that of course means shipping from China in April. Doesn't mean that they're going to arrive in Australia and you'll be able to buy them from your favourite dealer in April. Just so I would add 3 months, April, May. I've only really just thought this through. April, May, June, July. So you may well not see them until July or August. But I think they will ship, I think, sometime this year. It makes you wonder whether how profitable Intermountain are when so much of their stuff is sitting on the high seas. I mean, it's a product. I'm talking about all of the Intermountain stuff. It's a product that keeps on getting better and better, but just actually getting stock and shipping it seems to be a real problem for them. Right, F7s, once again, these were showing as March last month, now they're showing as April. So I think the F3s and the F7s will arrive at the same time. You know, I'm very interested in these because I not only want Burlington, but I want but these Colorado and Southern they're lettered for, and to my knowledge, there's never been any diesels lettered for Colorado and Southern. I mean, it's only a little C and an S instead of a C, B, and Q on them, but nevertheless, it's important. Now I'll just show you that actually, if you click on the locomotive, it will actually give you a nice picture of the HO version. Okay, so that's 701D, and as you can see, it's got the little C and S above the number. Okay, so we can then go back and hopefully take us back where we were. So they're all shipped. There you go, a whole load of F7 shipping in April. Now these are SD38-2s, spring 2018. Now I presume spring must mean May, June. Seems to be a funny sort of period. I would have thought they'd have used a quarter. I'd say it'd be more like August, September, but anyway. So there's SD38-2s. Then we got more SD40-2s, which they've already shipped some, and they're now showing us shipping in May. So a whole pile more of them. What have we got now? Oh, and the tunnel motors. Now these are definitely reruns, because I had these Rio Grande tunnel motors 10 years ago. I've since sold them because they don't fit with my 1950s era. They were a 1970s product, unfortunately, but they're really nice, and getting them in DCC is great. But that's shipping in May, so you might see them by the end of the year. Okay. Now I may look at this website with you once a month, but I suspect that all we're going to see is a shift in the shipping date, because I'm not sure that there's going to be a lot of new product announced, because there's so much product already announced and waiting. It makes you wonder how they can announce new product, but I don't know, maybe they will. Okay, so we've got some GTF4s. That's got this funny spring 2018 date. GP10s, okay, they're a bit unusual. They're July, August. Okay, very specific. They've got some information about them up the top there. Okay, now we've got FP7As and FP7Bs. They don't know when they're shipping. Could ship one sometime or other. Now there's a couple of Western Pacifics there, which is relatively unusual. Now I don't think I'll have time to go into it, but Wheels of Time, I'll say that again, Wheels of Time, they're a manufacturer. They're run by I think they're run by a couple of Taiwanese guys, and they're very detailed, and they're really nice products. But Intermountain are making some Western Pacific F units for them, and then they're not going to sell under Intermountain's name. They're going to sell under Wheels of Time name, and they're green. I think there's three in the green scheme and one in this orange silver scheme. So if you're interested in Western Pacific, you should go and have a look at Wheels of Time, and see if you can get on the waiting list for those products. I think you've got a long time to wait. Based on this schedule, you're not going to probably see them until the end of the year, but whether Wheels of Time have got any spares on their waiting list is another matter, as they're probably pretty popular. And all these things are made in advance now, based on the quantity that they think they've got reservations for. So moving on from them, we've got some FB9s and F9Bs, and here we go. This now I think I'm pretty sure it's a rerun, but obviously a rerun with DCC. This is the Southern Pacific Cab Forward, and I keep trying to think of a way that I could justify having one on my layout, and I haven't been able to really think of an honest reason why a SP Cab 4 would be on a Rio Grande layout, but I don't know. It looks a really lovely product. I'll have a quick squiz. Let's look at the. Okay, this of course will be the HO version, and you're not going to see much. Okay, you're not going to see much of it at all, I'm afraid. If you go back into the main Intermountain site and go looking for the product page for the Cab Forwards, you will get a much better picture. Alright, so that's the end of the locomotives. Now we won't spend too much time on this other stuff, but we've got some cabooses, and then we've got lots and lots of cars, of passenger cars. This brand, how do you pronounce it? Centralia Car Shops is one of Intermountain's brand, and they are really high quality passenger cars, as can be seen by the price, which is double what Microtrains are selling their passenger cars for. But they really are nice products. But you'll have to pay for them. So we've got sleeper cars, we've got coach cars, passenger cars, whatever that is, sleeper cars, double bedroom cars, Eastern Diner cars, Western Diner cars, and okay, Superdomes, baggage cars. Any of you collect Rock Island, you can get the baggage car, which is there for Rock Island. No problems with the baggage car for Rock Island. These guys have produced this product several times, and a couple of one or two other manufacturers produce it as a baggage car. Can you get any other products, any other car types for Rock Island in silver? No, I have no idea why. You can get them in this Southern Pacific Sunset Limited scheme, or maybe it's the Golden State scheme, I think it is, because Rock Island and Southern Pacific had a deal going, and they ran a train together. But get it in silver? No. But you can have a train full of baggage cars, but that's about all. Okay, then we get on to this, quite interesting, Fox Valley. Did you know that Intermountain make lots and lots of products that are sold under the Fox Valley label? And I'm pretty sure Fox Valley is an independent company. I don't think they're a subsidiary. But anyway, so there you go, lots of Fox Valley stuff. So if you're interested in Fox Valley, you should check that out. Then they've got this little company that make loads, but we're not going to see them until November, which probably means 2019. Then they've got some auto racks, centre beam cars, etc., etc. And these are all TBDs, which means sometime never in the future. So going through Intermountain's product list of shipments is can keep you busy for several hours if you've got nothing better to do with your time. Okay, so at this point I'm going to end this particular segment of what's new and neat in N-Scale.
In 1842 I left the old world for the new, bad cess to the luck that brought me through to work upon the railroad. To work upon the railroad. In 1843 'twas then I met sweet Biddy McGee, an elegant wife she's been to me while working on the railroad. In 1845 I thought myself more dead than alive. I thought myself more dead than alive while working on the railroad. In 1847 sweet Biddy McGee she went to heaven. If she left one kid she left 11 to work upon the